Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of No ID Podcast. It is me, your host, Rome Davis. I have here comedian, author, actor, creative, licensed therapist, the one from Philly. I'm guessing, right?
I live in Philly, but
Mm.
yeah, I'm based out
Oh,
of Philly.
based out of Philly. I'm sorry. The great Dr.
No, it's
Holly.
cool. Thanks, Ron. Thanks for having me. Where are you? You're on the East Coast, right?
I'm in Virginia.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought so. I was gonna say DC, but I was like, I know it was somewhere down in that area. Yeah,
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Good busy. Good busy. Good busy. But I'm good. How are you?
I'm 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 good. Not
Okay.
busy, but good. We good.
Okay.
So for the intro that I gave for the people that's watching and listening out there, she really is a licensed therapist slash comedian, and I'm trying
Yeah,
to, which actually coincides with each other if you really think about it, because
it
it's a
do.
lot of us that need therapy that do that do stand up. Some of us go on stage just to get our therapy session in.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you? What came first, therapy or comedy?
That's a good question because I think they've always been interwoven. As of late, I have been a therapist for the last 6 or so years. And it wasn't even a pandemic. It's just that I don't have a real hobby like most normal people, and yeah, I'm saying normal. Most normal people like go to the gym, they crochet, they knit, they play an instrument, like they have actual hobbies. And I don't do none of that shit. Oh my God, I hate the gym. I can't play an instrument. I don't sing. And so comedy has become uh a hobby for me. I do get paid from the hobby, so that's even greater. But yeah, as a kid, people tell you like, "Oh my gosh, you're such a great listener." People always come to you up to you and tell you they bullshit. So that's always been my story. And then I've been a creative writer, I would probably say since the fourth grade, with like short stories, composing music, always been in the arts. But and I talk about this a lot. And my grandmother from the South, she was like, no, you are going to go to HBCU and you're going to study journalism and you're going to become Oprah, the news anchor version. And I was just like, okay, you can't tell Big Mama no. So I did that. And after graduating, I was like, I am not doing journalism. At that time, things had shifted from print to like the internet. And it was everybody was scrambling. And I remember a lot of magazines closing down and everybody was trying to figure out how we can put stuff online. I was just like, I'm not doing all that. So I didn't. But a lot of what I learned has definitely come into play this many years later. So yeah.
So how long have you been doing comedy?
Believe it or not, what is this? August? A year and 4 months.
So you
Um,
started like
yeah.
prior lockdown, like in the end of the lockdown, somewhat.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. I started out taking comedy classes at Helium Nightclub here.
Mm.
Shout out to Chip Chantry. He's my favorite first teacher, rather, my favorite first teacher of comedy. And I've been going ever since, doing it from Canada all the way down to Tampa. And it has been a journey. It's been really nice. And even though it's not therapy, back to your point, it has been very therapeutic for me. You know what I mean? Because I'm the type of comic that talks a lot about just shit that I go through. And I
Mhm.
think so. I think other comics do it too, but sometimes you have comics that do a lot of commentary on like current events, and I'm not that type of comic per se.
Yeah, you can't do the trending. Like if you do trending, you probably got like a good week of material. Because if you try, like I did the Alabama thing,
Okay.
right? 2 weeks of that material, can't do it no more.
No, you're right. Yeah, so having a journalism background, I really don't chase ambulances. That's a term for people who are like, for your listeners who don't know, it's like people who are hopping on the first thing that's like hot in the news and then they just go from there. So that's not my take. And I was just sharing last night with a whole bunch of comedians, like, you're right. You can only do it for so many days or so many weeks, and then it just gets like old, right? Because I have one joke about the pandemic, and it's like I think you have to shelf it because we're not actively in a pandemic. So it's like to kind of talk about it. If you do, which you can, you just have to be creative on how you could rework a joke that's no longer, current in the news.
That's big facts because the trending is not going to last that long.
No, not at all. So how do you stay relevant as a comedian? Like, what do you do?
You write about your life.
Yes.
You write about a theory or something that's happened. Sometimes I'll quote unquote break the fourth wall. Where I have a joke. I actually posted on my Instagram where I was like, what's it? People ask us all the time, what's the difference between working a black and a white room? And I'm like, yo,
Oh.
oh, black rooms don't laugh at all. Like they pay attention to every word. Yeah.
We talk about this once a week in my comedy circles, and last night was one of those nights. And because I went to a comedy showcase, shout out to Che, in his comedy showcase class, and he basically had a cohort of students, doing comedy, graduating from the class, and they were amazing. And one comic was like, "Hey, what open mic should I go to? What do you recommend?" And I say to him, "I'm like, listen." I could recommend an open mic, but based on who you are as a comic, that's what you should go off of because one room may totally fit who you are as a comic, in another room it just may not. And he was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "To be honest, you have all white rooms, you have all black rooms, and then you have the mixed rooms. So depending on what type of comedy you do, you got to figure out where you fall in that." I think even with all black rooms, they're still not monolithic either. Like I've been in all black rooms and some of them are so lowbrow. My jokes just go here. I don't take it personal. I just know that that's not my audience, right? And
Hmm.
then there are some spaces like I've done clubs in DC, right? And so I can talk to those folks because again, they're, not lowbrow. I'll just put it nicely like that. And so again, you gotta figure out again who you are as a comic, your style, and then that find that room or just be in that room because sometimes comics will take it personal when people don't laugh. I personally don't because no two rooms are alike. I don't take it personal. I think I'm funny and there's just that. So you laugh, you don't. But I never take it personal.
You're not supposed to. Like my mentor, shout out to James Cooper.
Okay.
He told me that sometimes when rooms are quiet, it's
Mm-hmm.
because they have to think about the joke
Okay.
that they saying, and like you was saying about your comedy circle about what rooms you want to go to. I had to learn about universal jokes. So,
Yes.
because it's a room that I had did, I was like, yeah, my card declined, and did it. I said something about money and finances, and they did not understand me because I was like, I didn't read the room that well because in that neighborhood, no house is underneath $750,000. Everybody is making a quarter of a mil or more doing something. So I was like, you got to work about different things. But like,
Yeah.
that's a lesson. But it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they could be quiet processing a joke or just drunk as shit, right?
Yeah.
Because you got those rooms, and then you got the rooms where, you know, the hecklers. I've only been heckled once, since I've been doing this, and I don't have a problem with hecklers. I think because I do improv, and improv requires you to think really quickly on your feet.
Hmm.
So when I got heckled down in Tampa, shout out to Tampa Improv, um, I was like hitting it. Like soon as they said something, I was like, boom. And then once I shut him down, I got hit like two more times and I just kept going. And I enjoy having developed that skill from improv because I've seen comics who have gotten heckled and that just ended their set or their night. And I'm like,
Facts.
ooh. Yeah. Improv has allowed me to develop those like cat reflexes. So if you say a word, I'm quick on it. You heckle me. And I don't engage too much. I don't do a lot of crowd work. I don't know if you do. I think that's, treading water. So you gotta be careful with that
Do have
too.
to. You do.
Woo!
You do.
Yeah.
But for crowd work, here's a secret to my crowd work.
Okay.
I will ask before I start doing it. And I'm talking about before I even get on the mic. I will ask. Like I did an open mic Friday, and I know the owner said, "Bro, I wrote some new stuff about you and this." And I said, "Is there anything off limits?" He'll give me like one thing that's off limits, but other than that, just rock out. So that's
Okay.
that's that's the secret. Like, even if you write about your family or somebody, like, look, I'm a comedian. You know, I apologize. I may buy you a drink after the show, but look, let me just say something about you, say something to you. If they cool with it, they cool with it. If they not, I leave them alone. But like, yeah, if you joke on the owner of a bar or establishment or a club, you need to ask permission first before you
Okay.
even get on the stage. Ask.
Okay. Okay. I can dig that. I can dig that. On the flip side of that, I think there are some people who are easily offended or just find something to be offended about.
Mm.
Um because I don't know how old you are, but just growing up, comedy was just a safe space where nothing was, off limits, and people joked about any and everything, and it was tasteful. It was never tacky. A lot of people was up in arms about Dave Chappelle and the LGBTQIA community. Um, a lot of people were just up in arms about so much stuff just in the last 10 years, right? And unfortunately, it's sad that you have a form of art that is supposed to embody freedom of expression. And every time it just seems like somebody's getting canceled or somebody's offended, and it's like, these are jokes. You know, I don't the jokes that I make fun of, or if they're not about me but other people, like, I don't know you personally. Somehow or another, the joke is a part of my life, my everyday being, right? And so I'm joking about that shit. But people will find a way to get offended about your life and your experience.
They
And
will.
it's like, wow. So yeah, I do believe in if you are going to talk about somebody in the room, definitely ask their permission. But on the flip side of that, you'll have people that are just like, up in arms just about the simplest shit. And I'm like, yo, these are jokes. Chill.
Right. But we'll sit home and watch a murder mystery on Netflix like it ain't nobody business. All right. Cool.
Yeah. And do some other outlandish shit. I won't go there, but just do some other. It's like people are like fake offended. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like you pick and choose what to be offended about. But I guess that's life too. Like some shit is offensive to some folks and some shit is not. Like you'll go out and go murder somebody or rape somebody, but then you can't handle a joke about a woman's cycle. Okay.
No, no. A cycle means to me, I got another month of no child support. I'd be excited. Yes, that's an excitement. My cycle here. Whew, I hushed that bullet.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Oh, I know that's right. Because I have two children, and I'm like, oh, they're so close to just that age where I'm almost free. So yeah, I welcome a cycle, but it's just weird. Like people are just into all types of different shit, but some jokes or when people say shit like Corey Holcomb does a lot of abortion jokes, and people
Mm-hmm.
be like offended about that. But it's like, what? You'll go and listen to Suki talk about eating a man's ass. Like, what are we doing?
It's like
Right?
selective outrage. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my point. That's my point. Exactly. And a lot of people are mad about Chris Rock with the title and how he came out and said what he said with Will Smith and it was late, this and that. Like, how you gonna tell people when to process shit? How you gonna tell people that it's too late and you should have did this? Like, people are just corny and weird nowadays. And I think I just picked somewhat of the worst time to be a comedian, but I'm up for the challenge. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is because people are just going to always, not all, but most people are going to find some shit to just be offended about. Wow, having their own skeletons and some weird shit going on. And you're like, you offended by that? Really? Okay.
Sidebar, somebody's fine ass mama.
Yeah. Shout out. It's a local black boutique here in Philly. I have been trying to get through her boutique literally for like over a year, and I'm so mad I can't remember her name. But I went in and she's always changing like up all her clothes, and I found this T-shirt, and I was like, well, this is applicable. So yeah.
To the people out there in the crowd too, it's like, man, I'm gonna slide in Dr. Holly's DMs. I want you to look at the aesthetic behind her. I also want you to look at that left hand on her. You better come correct before you slide in those DMs. Now you say you went to Helium Comedy School?
Oh my God, I did Helium Comedy School, and then after I did that, I did Philadelphia Comedy College. Shout out to Keith from up the block and Toure. Toure is a famous Philly comedian.
Facts.
Yeah, he's on Netflix right now with some more all of the Queen's Men. So shout out to Toure. He is my comedy mentor. After I did that, I went up to New York and did Comedy Cellar. They have classes there too. I believe in investing in my craft and within myself. So I took classes there. At the same time, doing improv classes here in Philly. Sketch writing in New York, I'm actively doing right now and trying to transition into more of that. And then if I'm not in a class, I'm producing shows. So me and my creative partner, shout out to Akudo, we throw comedy shows here, and we also produce what we call the Laugh Hour variety show. So it consists of sketches that we both wrote or other Black women wrote. We act them out. We also do improv with the audience, and we also do stand up in our variety show. So it's a riot. It's a time to be had. We have done it and continue to do it in Brooklyn and Manhattan. So if you're in New York, look for us. Um, so I'm pretty busy in the arena. I love doing stand up. However, it's not the end goal, but it is the end road. Um, yeah. So I just keep doing it, to stay creative, stay active. But writing, producing is definitely my jam.
Stand up is my jam.
Okay.
Podcast. The only reason I have this podcast because I bombed at a show so bad. So bad. They turned the lights off on me and cut the mic off. Cause I bombed. And I went to comedy school too, but I have one mentor because my comedy school teacher, we ain't gonna talk about that. But
But wait. Talk to me about the bombing part though. What make you describe it as bomb or say that you bombed?
so I was going to this mic. It's at a bar. And it's a church crowd at a bar. So that's what we were talking about earlier.
Whoa.
Right? And for 3 weeks, this lady said, you at a bar, there's no stage. You're in a corner and you literally sitting beside the customers. She's just sitting there. First week, she joking on me. I didn't even get a joke out. She said, you'll never make it in comedy. Third week, said something. I said, you know what? Fuck it. Fourth week, said something. I lit her up. But I was already bombing because my jokes just wasn't hitting. And I was just irritated. I took offense to it. And I was like, yo, your legs is built like 2 rolled up sleeping bags or something I said. And I was like, oh, and they literally cut the mic off and they put the music on and cut the lights off. It was like, yo, you got the. So I ended up leaving. I never went back to that mic after that. But the mic is gone now. So that same Thursday, because I take an improv class in Norfolk, I came and talked to one of the teachers there, Marlon. I was like, yo, this what happened. He said, good. They shouldn't have turned the lights off on you. She was asking for it. Now your jokes, we do need to work on your jokes a little bit more. But you did a good job at like lighting her up. So
See, and that was my thought.
yeah. Nah, but Virginia, I don't know how it is in Philly, but that outrage thing is real. Like most of the stuff here, I say it. I don't care because I ain't. You got gatekeepers, you
Mm-hmm.
have
Mm-hmm.
politics, you have drama, um, and then as far as like going to the crowds, uh, some of these rooms they want to be clean comics or Christian comics, and somebody has told me this numerous times. You can't bring church into hell, and that's what comedy is. It's hell. You can't do that stuff. And that was a clean room that I roasted her at. That was a Christian room at a bar at that. So they Sunday
The
it was
hypocrisy, though.
yeah, it is hell in there. And Virginia is like you like you have a comedy circle. We don't have that here. It's like I'm a one man person, literally. All
So
the
you
stuff.
don't connect with other comics?
When you connect with other comics, you can. But there's other comedians, and I hate to say it, black comedians that would tear you down and make up shit behind your back. Like, man, he was
Yeah.
stealing my jokes. Or my famous thing I heard when I was watching 85 South Show with Bruce. Not Bruce. It was Moneybag Mafia. Look, yeah, Moneybag Mafia. He was on the 85 South Show. And Carlos Miller literally said, if you are funny, they will not fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Like I went to Connecticut for last comic standing at the Mohegan Sun. I posted up a 45-second clip of me back there. DMs blow up. Oh, how did you get there? Where did you I'm like, oh, I got up there by myself. I opened up for DL Hughley back in December. This man did crowd work. I told him I was a comedian. He asked me to come on to the next show. That's how I got up there. How did you get up there with DL Hughley? I'm like, bro.
Shout out to DL.
Shout out to Daryl. Shout out to DL fucking Hughley.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's amazing. He's amazing. He gave me some of the best advice. It was simple, but it was some of the best advice.
It was just as a comedian, be yourself.
How'd you know? He told you that too?
That, but I also saw your Instagram. I did my research on you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was just like, oh my God. And I was just like, coming from like a 6 hour flight, I'm like, damn, you would have thought it would have been heavier than that. But it was just like, no, that was it. And to this day, I still chew and marinate on that because a lot of times comedians, or I'll just say people that I see online, do what other comedians do with the reels, right? Or just with their comedy. And they don't separate themselves as their own voice or comic. And you kind of get lost in the sauce like that. And it's like, well, who are you as a comic? And by him saying that, it's just like, I'm gonna be true to who I am. I know my audience. My comedy is smart because I'm smart. It is sassy and it's politically incorrect, right? And I just stick to being me. And I'm not again chasing ambulances or doing what everybody's doing on Instagram. And so when I hear his words often, it's like I feel good about that. It makes me feel authentic to who I am as a comic. There are going to be a lot of rooms that don't get my jokes, and I can't help that. That's just it is what it is. But I want to circle back to your point about bombing because I have this philosophy, or at least I think I do, that there's no such thing as bombing. I think like like you said, it was a church crowd in the bar. So let's just start with that in the first place. Like that was that was like a setup, okay? And so I don't think you could even say something where that crowd in the bar would have actually like fucked with you. You know what I mean? Like in a way that it was like, oh yeah, I find these jokes funny, Rome, right? So I don't know if you necessarily bomb. I think there is a such thing as a bad crowd. And then if they don't laugh, it's just like, okay, I did my few minutes on the mic or I did my job tonight. I got paid. I'm going home. Um, and then like, because I think sometimes comics will get in their head, but it's like, how do I know that you actually bomb? And if I'm placing that off of laughs, then shit, a lot of people wouldn't be famous if it's all about just the laughs. Because a lot of times, um, the laughs are not there. Like you said, they're either marinating on that joke or sometimes, they're drunk. Now, Philly is, I won't say political, but it is definitely a place where there's a lot of gatekeeping going on. And if you not like a struggling comic, you wasn't homeless, you weren't sleeping in your car, you didn't grow up in the hood, you didn't have like all these outliers or these struggle stories, which I'm going to talk about my podcast, then it's like, oh, you're not authentic or you can't run in certain circles. And I'm like, I'm cool with it because that's not my story. I'm not from the hood. I have been homeless, but again, I don't have that same story that when as comedians, this is what we do and this is who we are. And it's like, I'm not in that clique. And so you have the black comedians who are in that type of circle, and so they kind of hang out and they have those jokes around that. And then you have the white comedians who are like, okay, you're not a safe enough black, so we don't invite you into certain circles. Yes, you have to be a safe black in Philly, and I'm okay with that. So it's very segregated, but not necessarily about race. It's segregated by your struggle and the the type of jokes that you tell and what type of drugs that you do, believe it or not. Um, so my circle is one that I built. So if you have one or two people, that could still be a circle. It might be a semicircle, but it's still a circle. And so for me, my circle is very small. It's people who um I can relate to because they have the mindset of there's no competition. They have the mindset of I'm doing jokes, you're doing jokes, let's get this money. They have the mindset of, oh, I'm a creative, you're creative, let's just do this thing. And I don't know why stand-up comedy as a solo sport is so competitive. No two comedians are alike. So why do you feel like we're competing? I think the competition comes in when people do the opposite of what D.L. Hughley said, which is not being yourself. If you're coming in and trying to be like other comedians or their style or the way they deliver in their persona, it is going to be competition because everybody's doing that. But I personally don't feel like I got competition because my shit is so different and unique, and I know I have a set audience and a following, so it's just like I stick to that. And that's kind of what my circle is. It ain't huge, but I appreciate the people that are in that circle and we support each other just around that alone.
Yeah, yeah, you do. It's like I had some. I still talk to some of these guys, but like I had a circle, and the work that I was putting, I was like, man, it was see, for people that's listening, the comedic journey is you will drive 2-3 hours in Virginia to get 5 minutes. All right,
Oh,
right. So it was a mic up in Richmond. It was about an hour and a half away at this little pizza spot, and I knew the host. I was like, "Hey, bro, like, can I get on?" And he was like, "Yeah, man." Cause we were like vibing through like just DMs. Was like I got in the magazine. I was like, "Yo, come reach out to her." This lady, he got in the magazine. He said, "Man, I give you 10 minutes." All right, and then you like,
okay.
y'all want to come up to Richmond? Oh, nah, man, that's too far. I don't want to drive 2 hours for 5 minutes. I'm like, bro, he gonna give you 10 because there ain't nobody that shows up to this mic. You just getting the reps in. Oh no,
Yeah.
man, we don't. Oh man, I don't want to do that, man. Oh man, and then I hate saying this word. Niggas getting their emotions and feelings about seeing other comedians, and they want to do shit based off of emotions. And I'm like, bro, it's a marathon. It's not a race. Like,
But
it's
you
no
can't be mad at the reps that you didn't put in though.
facts.
Period. You can't be mad. And whatever those reps are, again, that's whatever those reps are. It could be driving 2 hours. It could be taking an improv class. It could be going to the mics. It could be writing. It could be working on your shit. Whatever those reps are, you can't be mad when the other comedian do put in the reps and then it pays off. Like you open up for DL. Like it's weird because comics do be feeling like, oh, well, I've been in the game for 5 years. I've been in the game for 7 years. I don't give a fuck how long you've been in the game. Until your ass end up on Netflix and we doing the same mics, we doing this. We on the same level. So in my mind, years don't really equate to much in the comic game. This is just my personal opinion. If me and you have been doing the same open mics and you've been doing this shit for 5, 17 years, the math ain't mathing.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And so for me, 2 hours south is the Baltimore, DC area, and then 2 hours north is New York. I got both of them in my backyard, and I'm taking advantage of both of them. I made connections. And it's like, if you really want to do this, you have to put in the reps. Whatever that looks like for you, you have to put it in. You have to know where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do. But I apply that really to anything in life. Like anything I want to do, I go hard on it anyway. I go like ham as fuck. So that's just me. But when it comes to comedy, I get the same thing here. Like, oh my God, you're going to New York. Yeah, it's up the street. It's 2 hours. Like, get on the train or the bus. But you can go. No, seriously, you can go there. And for me, because of who I am, how outspoken I am, how raw I am, and the type of comedy that I do, it just doesn't fit in the Philadelphia box. There are certain mics that I fuck with because of people who host in the rooms. But as far as like actually like doing shit, New York is just my space. It shows me a different type of love. It gives me a different type of energy. It doesn't feel very crab in a barrel. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like New York is a big ocean with a lot of sharks, right? But ain't nobody like sharking you. That's not an actual word, y'all. But ain't nobody sharking you. Like ain't nobody like killing you because it's such a vast ocean. You can literally eat, right? Philly is such a small fucking pond with piranhas. And so everybody feel like, oh my God, I have to like be in this crab in a barrel, like stab you in the back, or not even necessarily stab you in the back, but just do some old like grimy shit to make it like they want to one up you or think that they're taking away your opportunities. And I don't got time for that. I don't got time for that. So yeah, I started here. This is my base, but I also know um where to channel my energies. But again, I'm glad you just brought up the 2 hour drive. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm in New York at least once or twice a week. I'm there. I'm investing. I'm there. And again, I'm not doing it necessarily be like, oh, I'm trying to blow up. It's just the fact that I know what I need to do for me to get to my end goal. And so if that takes me going there once a week, twice a week, connecting with folks, taking classes, being in certain spaces, right? I'm gonna do that shit.
Yeah, like you have to. Like
Yes.
Richmond's in my back pocket. I got North Carolina. I was in Connecticut. My goal
Go
is to
ahead.
get to Canada up there because I've got like the credentials to
Go to
get it.
Toronto.
Hmm.
Go to Toronto for sure. The comedy scene there is nice.
And like I've been to New York before, and it's like it's nothing but writers, comedians, SNL people. That's all it is. This is a mic everywhere, and I'm like, Virginia does not have that. We're focused on one fucking club, and they act like that's the only goddamn club we have here, and then they get hurt when they don't get in that per se club. And I'm like, yo, it's more than one club. Like, have them knock at your door. Stop going over there and doing all that. And then you got some comedians, they'll dick ride the hell out of this one comedian
Mhm.
because this comedian is putting them on, and then that comedian is putting them on. He got something going on with a local, and I mean a local television station, and he puts the same fucking 7 comedians on the spotlight. And you like, all right, well, bet I'll just make my own route. I know the game. I know what to do. I'm old school.
Right.
Old school. I do the MC Hammer shit. I will put a sample on my social media, but I'll put the full thing on the flash drive, as old as it is, and mail them bitches out. And I've gotten responses like, all right, we can get you in. And some don't read it, some of them send it back. I'll send them bitches right back the next week. But like, comedy is just one of those things. It's a solo fucking game, but it's like,
Yes.
but they act like it's just so competitive, and it's like, oh, I want to go here and I want to block this person. Oh, I'm gonna open up my own room, and I'm gonna bump people off because I'm gonna put in for my homeboy. So I'm gonna open up my own room as a host, and I'm gonna do 15 minutes between each comedian and take the energy out. And then I'm gonna bring coming onto the stage, Dr. Holly, and I'm gonna get her 3 minutes, but I'm gonna get her the light at 1 and
Oh
tell her
my
time is
God.
up.
Yes. You got those they are the host of mics, and they're like mic hoggers. You're there to help bring up other comedians. You might could do you, or you're supposed to maybe do 3 to 5 in between, and sometimes you shouldn't be doing in between. But yeah, you are right. They will take 15. I've seen some even take 30. Okay. I've seen people go to mics, sign up, can't get on. I've seen it happen to me. The list will be long as your arm, and it's just like, oh well, I know this person, or they'll bump you and just put all their friends on who didn't even sign up, and it's just like, okay. And I learned that early on, and so for me, it was frustrating, but then I'm like, okay, I just won't do the room no more. Now I know how to channel my energy. So if those rooms have that vibe where they not really fucking with you and they rather fuck with their friends and put on the same black or white comedians, the same joke, the same guys that talk about dick jokes and coming, or the 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 white Taylor Swift female comedians, I call them, right? The dry ones. Um
Hmm.
and it's just like, if that's what you want to put up in your room, who am I? I ain't gonna be upset about it. I just don't come back to your room. You know what I mean? I just find now other spaces where I can actually get up on a mic, get the time. And so that's what I mean by like knowing where to put your reps in, right? So yeah. So it sounds like you're in a part of Virginia where you can either go to North Carolina or to Richmond. So you're like in the middle.
I'm in the middle, and
Uh
I've been doing this for, I say 4 years. But I usually subtract two because it was 2 years in that lockdown where I was just like, wasn't no mics. So that's when the craft started crafting a lot more, a
yeah.
little bit. And even when I was doing this podcast, originally was going to be started to interview comedians in the 757 or in the 804 in Virginia, or creators in general. Oh yeah, I do it. Man, I got left on red. They would open the shit up and then close it back like they ain't see it. I was like, all right, well, bet. So now, since the podcast, I don't know if you really seen some of the guests. I
Yeah,
don't
I've
know.
seen some of your YouTube one. The one I saw, it was like an Asian guy, like you guys were doing some type of collaborative work. That's the video I saw on not Instagram, I'm sorry, YouTube.
I
With the
had a
no
couple of
ID.
dominatrices. Yeah, I had a couple of dominatrices and foot fetish models and porn stars and other
Whatever floats your
comedians.
boat.
I'm not. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't have a foot fetish. I'm not into kink. Put my pussy on the platter, and I go from there. But yeah, they circle. Some of them have circled back, but I'm like, yo, no hard feelings. But like, I'm booked. I have other comedians that's willing to get up here like you. Uh, there's been a couple. I need to
I could dig
go out
it.
to Philly myself, actually, because Helium, I heard, was nice, but they was only trying to do the open mic for me at the time, which I might just take the gamble and, well, not might, I will take the gamble, just do the open mic itself, and just put my face out there, so they be like, oh, okay, the little buddy serious.
Yeah, why not? I think if you, whatever opportunities, connections that you have that are open to you, you definitely take them. Because, it's not like it's a possibility of them rolling around twice. Like, fucking take them. You know what I mean? DC has great rooms. I had lived in DC for 11 years before moving to Philly. Wasn't doing comedy there, but I go down there sometimes and I do there. So I should be back in DC in October. Baltimore is pretty decent, but it can be a hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Delaware has a good mic. Um, Delaware, that mic is called Bar 13 in Wilmington. That has definitely hands down been the best mic that I've been to since I've been doing comedy. And what makes it the best is you can go in there and nothing can be offensive. They have every type of person in the room. So when you make a joke, literally nobody's offended at anything. And you can just go in there and be raw. I don't know if it's the culture of the mic or just the host. But you literally can go in there and just rip. And it just felt so good. Because I've been in mics and it's like, oh no, afterwards, like you can't say that, or people look at you and they go silent and they go like, ooh, because you said some shit that is kind of like clinch your pearls, but really it's not. I just hate what's becoming this huge censorship on art. And comedy is just, once again, it's not something that it should be fucking censored, right? But there's that. But yeah, if you ever around this way, yeah, come through. It's plenty of spots that I could definitely recommend, and then maybe you found some spots on your own. But yeah, Philly is definitely like some of the experiences that you described.
Yeah, I ain't afraid to say them. I ain't gonna say that them people's names, um, or whatever. What?
Yeah, that's fine because no, seriously, because like you, there are people who, I've invited to come on a podcast and again left on read or don't show up, and it's fine. Then they'll come back, like you said, be like, "Oh, well, hey, let's do the podcast." And like you said, like I got a list of people who actually are willing to do it. So, I'm trying to come on. Or you can ask people like, "Oh, come and, do 5-10 minutes at my comedy show," and it'd be like, no, no. And then when they see that you're doing other shit, then they want to circle back around. So it's like for some people, they want to have social proof. And it's like, I am the social proof.
Right.
So yeah.
Mm, get it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
but
ain't mad at no, don't get it like you. I ain't mad at nobody, but I moved on and just progressed into fucking with people who actually want to fuck with me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
$1 million question. Where the gold grills at?
Oh my gosh, you are the second person in the last 24 hours is asking me about the grills. Oh, I have them and I got some new ones. So I'm ready to floss them, but they come out on, special occasions. But they're here, they're around. Who made you ask about the grills?
Okay, so prior to us talking, like I said, I was watching your social media. Now, I have some stuff that was hanging over my head with auditions and pictures. And it's been a crazy but good couple of months. So one time I had thought you got hacked because you had posted up a picture. You blanked out the chat. You was like, "Yeah, get this money or something." I said, "She get hacked," and I'm about to DM you like, "Yeah, I think you got hacked." But then again, if I DM you, you was probably hacked, but you wasn't. I think it was like a
Mm-mm.
check or something you posted. Then I had saw you with these grills. I'm like, "Oh, she interesting as fuck." I said, "She a licensed therapist, comedian, and she got grills." I said, "Oh, okay, bet." So I kept seeing your stories with the grills. I don't know if you saw me watching or peeping, but I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and see if she gonna wear them." And then you said, "Oh, it's a special occasion." This is a special occasion. Objection.
W- You are right. This is a special occasion. So, by that being said, you have to just submit a request. I would have worn 'em. Somebody asked me about them last night. I would have worn 'em. I don't be thinking people really be like checking it like that. Like, shout out to my grandma. She's Southern. She from Alabama, and my granny had open faces growing up. So when I would see her as a kid, I was always fascinated. Like, damn, my granny got open faces. She dope as shit. But not knowing that that's a culture in the South, right? That's a whole culture. And so my granny didn't do it to be like cute or fancy. She did that shit because she a Southern girl. So I was like, damn. So I always been into it. And I was like, when I get older, I'm gonna get me a grill. So it's kind of like paying homage to my Southern fam and also paying homage to my grandma. She's alive. She's not dead. But it's just to say that, like, black folk, we ain't a monolithic people. We have culture within culture. And yeah, I love my fucking goals. I've gotten goals from Houston. Shout out to Johnny Dang. I've gotten them from Dallas, from Miami, and then the most recent, y'all. If you in Atlanta, hit up Mel's Grills. She actually is a real dentist. She's licensed. She's black. She's female from Philly, but she is an ortho down in Atlanta, and she made my most recent grill. She gave me 6 up top and 5 at the bottom. So up top it just says Doctor DOCTOR, and then I got open faces on the side, beyond the D and the R. And then at the bottom is the Holly. I got the open face at the Y and the H. And very affordable. At least it was for me. Um, and I just love grills. I got some more ideas coming out, but y'all just gotta wait to see them. But yeah, I rock some grills. I ain't ratchet. and ain't hood, and you ain't gotta be either one of them to rock a grill. I'm just, again, for the culture.
What about Dr. Holly says? I've seen you perform on your page. Literally, probably most recently saw you doing t-shirts, maybe some jeans or some shorts. I've seen you in a dress and some heels. I'm like, what the hell? Like, she can, okay, all right, you gotta come correct with her. And also, people that listen, she said she went out to Houston, Texas, and got some made. Johnny Dang. So once again, fellas, because I know some of my friends is gonna slide in the DMs. I'm trying to get up. Stay away. Don't stay away, but come correct. If she can afford it, look at her. Look at the. I did not wake up like this. Follow your dreams. Welcome,
Yeah.
Growth Thriller. She ain't bullshitting with y'all. Before we end off on this one, I do appreciate your patience. What is some advice that you would give a younger comedian that's starting off, or your younger self when you were starting off in the comedy game?
I guess do it sooner. I would have definitely did it sooner. But timing is everything, so don't regret it. If I had to give any advice to someone who wants to do it or who's just starting off, I think you'll go back to what D.L. Hughley told me. Like, be yourself. Don't try to do what everybody else is doing on social media. You're going to get lost in the sauce. We need to know what makes you unique, what makes you your snowflake. And you got it, whatever that is, but you gotta step into it and bring it out.
And if the people want to
Yeah.
get in contact with you and see your gold grills and your 6-inch
Aw.
stilettos, how can they do that?
Yeah, I'll be um in in October, I'll be in DC, heading out to LA, and planning on Toronto. One of my favorite spots up there shut down, and I didn't know about it. And it was a good spot to do comedy day shows. They shut down. So working on where I can hit up next in Toronto. I got a few spots though. But yeah, so LA, Toronto, and DC in October.
Facts. Yeah, Toronto. I've been trying to get in that Just for Laughs, the new faces, for like the longest, and I respect what they did. They give you a rejection letter so perfectly put together compared to these other festivals that do not let you know if you got in or not until the week before the festival. So, if you
Aw.
if you guys want to follow myself, see my comedy, it is Comedian Room on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. No ID is the podcast. No ID Media TV is the platform where you get comedy as well as the podcast. No ID Media TV is on YouTube, Instagram, and Threads, and Facebook. Hit the link in the bio, like, share, comment, subscribe. Check out Dr. Holly. She's really a licensed therapist. If you're not gonna get a laugh, get a session, get a session in. She is mad dope on the gram. She's like one of my threads. I ain't really been on threads, but check her out. Support comedy, but also support
Yes.
Black women in comedy, Black people in
Yes.
comedy, because it's very rare for, especially in Virginia, for Black women comedians in this area. I don't know what the hell going on, but support. And
Yes.
we'll be talking again. She probably come back as a
Yeah.
guest.
Yeah. We out here. Yeah. We out here.
Yeah,
We doing our
gang
thing.
gang.
Yeah. I appreciate you, Rome. I had a blast. Yeah. If you're in the area, holla at your girl.
I sure. Yeah, and I'm 34 because you say you ain't know my age. I'm 34. All right. I don't look like it, but my hairline say something different. I didn't wear a hat because let me just be to the real me. Stop hiding this shit. It's all
It's
good.
all
But
good. It's all good. Yep.
all right, stop recording. Recording.